and follow that and try to take you into a little deeper spot. Thanks for that lineup, Tyler. It's like, that was fun, and now we're going deep. But not the whole time. I will say I love, love, love this topic of being fully alive because it's deeply personal to me. I took a very non-traditional route to wake up, and I'm still on that journey every day. But I want to start by telling you about a phone call I recently got. I want to say it was in the last few months. It was from one of my best friends. And this is the kind of friend that when he calls, and we talk probably 2 times a week. And when he calls, I just really never know what he's going to do, what he's going to invite me to do, or what he's going to say. Well, this particular time he said, hey, I've got a speaking gig coming up that I think is kind of interesting, but I think I need your help with it. So would you be willing to come and split the time with me? And I thought, sure, he speaks all over it. Well, this is the location he was talking about. It's a place called San Quentin. And my reaction too. But I'm from Nashville, so I'm a Johnny Cash fan. So one of my favorite albums is San Quentin Live. And I kind of thought, well, that's kind of nostalgic and cool. So yeah, I'm in. When do you ever get a chance to speak at one of the world's most famous, or most well-known prisons? So I said yes, as I normally do to this friend. And then when I got on an airplane and got about halfway there and started thinking about what is it that I have to say or share to 3 or 4,000 inmates. And how in the world am I going to come up with anything that feels relatable? As a white man of privilege, I honestly was scared to death. And I really wasn't scared about what I was going to say. If I'm completely honest, I was scared about safety. Because it was really exciting until I walked through the doors, or through the gate, I should say. And then I started making up this story, and this narrative started playing about who was there, what they'd done. Would we be safe? Would we get back out? I went through all those scenarios. Little did I know, but boy, did I quickly understand that I wasn't there for them at all. They were there for me. Because we walked around the yard for an hour before we got an opportunity to sit in a packed house or a chapel full of these folks, and it was one of the safest places I'd ever felt in my life. These men made eye contact with us, and they welcomed us, and they thanked us for being there. Why is that? Because you know what I did on the way? I spent a lot of time scripting out everything I know about emotional and mental health, because I know prisons are called prisons, but they're really our country's largest mental health hospitals. And so I scripted out everything I know, because I thought if I can go in there and show them what I know, if I can go in there and teach something about mental and emotional health or addiction or the things in the world that I live in, then I'll get some credibility with them. Until I sat across the first young man that I met, who was serving a pretty long sentence, but he was a young man. He's a former gang member. And we started talking about why he was there. And he said, there's something I want you to know. I know you're going to talk in a little while. He said, I need you to know that I'm just not a fan of labels. And I said, me neither. I work in a world where people get diagnosed every day, and I'm not a huge fan of that. I know it has its place, but I'm not a fan of it. He said, I'm not a fan of labels because I don't believe we're inmates or prisoners. We are men who are currently incarcerated, and over 90% of us will have a second chance at life. And when I heard him reframe that to me, in my head, I took the talk that I'd created and I wadded it up in a ball and I threw it behind me. And I said, I'm not going to go up there and tell them what I know. I'm going to get up there and show them who I am. And I did. And I shared my story. And suddenly the differences evaporated. Do I come from some of the dangerous places that some of those people did? Did I have some of the same experiences? Absolutely not. I shared about there was a time in my life where everything felt on paper like it was going beautifully, but underneath the surface, just beneath the surface, I was someone who was accomplishing a lot, but feeling pretty low. And I was experiencing depression and anxiety. And in a leadership role, I did everything possible for you not to see that, because God forbid, if you did, and you were exposed, and there's no way you'd have credibility or I would have trust with you. So as I began to share that, and I told my story of how I went to school for this and started doing this, and I had some success, and then I crashed. And then I had an opportunity to do what you men are doing right now, which is an opportunity for restoration and rehabilitation. And now I get an opportunity to sit at the helm and run one of the coolest places ever, that thousands of people a year come through to get a second chance. And when I said that, they jumped to their feet and gave me the most beautiful standing ovation, and I will never, ever, ever forget that moment. And that ovation was not for me, it was for them. Because I shared a part of my story about redemption and restoration and hope, and what they saw was not a microscope on their problems, they saw a mirror on their second chance. That's what we get an opportunity to do as leaders when we lean into our truth.